We are moving here. We're moving forward here. Let's see. What do we have? What do we have? Um, hmm, right? Right, that's actually kind of. Testing, testing, testing. Here is Liberty singing to shore. After saying her breath, I've been telling people, baby, don't understand why we can't just hold on to each other's hand. Mm, this time might be the last. Unless I make this song right. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again. Learn to live so free when we hear voices sing. The book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. Baby, tonight we can take what was wrong and make it right. Mm, baby, so that you're of the flood that makes me whole. You so take these broken wings and learn to fly again, learn to live so free. When we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. You've got to learn to fly and live that love so free. When we hear the voices sing, book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah. Let's see. Let us see. Baby, it's all I know that you're half of the flesh and blood that makes me whole. Yeah, yeah. Take these broken wings, learn to fly and live in love so free. Hear voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings. You've got to learn to fly and live in love so free. When we hear voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah, yeah, baby. So baby, it's all I know. I do so. Alrighty then, there then. Alrighty there. Showboats. Well, I think I'm just going to follow my intuition. Okay, where are these? Let's see here. I'm used to not being known. So I know you're protecting Jess. You also have betrayed me. Didn't try to mislead you or hurt you. Didn't try to mislead or hurt Jess. I was misled and hurt. And I was abandoned. Because I would not abandon her. You are the aggressor in this moment. You lashed out at me. I did not lash out at you. And you do not know what happened. It is the question to pose, whether hypothetical or specific. If you think you're seeing it, you're not seeing it to some degree. And accountability goes both ways. We don't get to throw people away without throwing them away. If that is what we want our world to be consistent with, it will be consistent with that. And we will be thrown away. People will be thrown away. Bake it into the system if you want. If you do, you are a terrorist. The terror spectrum is defeatable at every moment. So is the kindness spectrum. I am allegiant to kind. It really is remarkable to know that it's been the same shape the whole time, of abusers who deluded themselves that their blood-curdling crimes were sanctioned by God and fate and destiny. That is exactly as batshit as Individual One. It is the abominable American. And ugliness was never so beautiful. All right. Well, this is me on this day, expounding, visiting moments in time and thought, essentially around subjugation or erasure. ready should people show up, to create a motion sculpture of us individuals, we individuals walking in some strangely haptic and separated proximity. This is a natural first part. This is the best because we are not merely interacting with the portals before us here. We are interacting with the portals of potential viewers, the portals of invitees or people who might, should they happen to open the door and they might like this or might not. But the fragment of this that you see, I look forward to seeing your eyes when you see what else there is here. And I'm developing technology that I want to share with BIPOC creators. The project that I'm working on this summer with support of the Minnesota State Arts Board, my first ever grant. Very grateful. I am working on a weekly program that's brief, Mr. Rogers' length and sort of Mr. Rogers' tiny desk Twilight Zone in terms of codename, working title, approach-ish. And that program will be light and heavy and dark and light. And it is made up of interviews and songs and with artists and local thinkers and writers, and much the same as Mr. Rogers would have guests from a variety of spaces and spectra, or something like Omnibus, a magazine hosted by Alistair Cook, in which science and technology, STEAM essentially, was on display in multiple variations and juxtapositions and applications, in novel applications that stimulated curiosity and joy. And why not? So this Apple is breaking down this Newton over here with, enthusiasm for curiosity and enthusiasm for the joy of discovery, of learning, of personal discovery. The opening of an inner eye. And that, let's see here. Okay, well, I was going to hold off on, since it's already almost 9 o'clock, and this is scheduled to be complete at 10 p.m., I am going to open up some more concerted singing and maybe come forward. I've been kind of hanging back and waiting to let myself add to a group to work with, to collaborate. And I'm going to need to kind of do that on my own to set out the tone that I was hoping to share in a slightly different way, because this is this moment, and I'm definitely glad to be here and holding this space open. And the more people that are ready to do that, alongside also standing in the street or reaching out to making friends or what have you, we are the new Colossus, which means we look out for each other. And so it feels really beautiful and sacred to just to be here so that someone can walk in and be here and not need to say a word to me and can come in and wave and go to a room and sit and think or quake. Space is a love. Space is a known. Space is a member. See if my pal is back. I think I could go across to Tea Shop. That wouldn't be a terrible idea, actually, and maybe even bring a camera to say hello to people. That is really the one space nearby that I have, with mask, gone and met people, and it's, I believe, the last 3-2 bar in the city. And they just have a couple of beers on tap, and then other things too. You don't have to drink beer there. You don't have to drink alcohol. I believe that's the only alcohol they have. At any rate, Tea Shop, and it's good to be meeting people. I've been so insular and hermetized. For healing's need. Way beyond just an ICU kind of level of, I'm not going out today, I can't deal, or this is going to take me off the game of the depth of healing that I need at this moment. I hope that others are finding that there is some release in all of the things that are happening, that being pushed aside from normal things, that I hope that some people have had some sense of sabbatical, even if it's backhanded or something, that there's some particle of, I have space to think about something now. Like, I'm finding myself writing a book, and I always dreamed that I could write, and I knew that I could write, but I was terrible and I couldn't figure it out, and I knew I was a fraud. And then what I realize now is I just had a little bit of time for my brain to think and not be racing to save my life. Not in the same way. We are distracted. It's not just about writers or artists or someone coming up with a formula like, I've had this spark of inspiration, oh no, it's gone, and oh, if I would have known. No, knowledge is much deeper and wider. And yes, there are specific answers, and yes, there are also specific conditions which must exist for some things to emerge, if ever. Anyway, I am a verbal person, and I guess I could be stepping up and jumping up around, but it does feel good to be tranquil, and I suppose here with just my mind more to be with, I think it seems like a natural place to share in this way, and I hope that this is comfortable for anyone who is partaking. So let's take a peek out there. Shark. Friends don't bring the scarcity myth to friends. It's not the done thing. Now who's the Dunham? All right. Now who's the Dunham? Now who's the Dunham? I don't really give a fuck what you think. I'm done caring about the horribly cruel things that you hang on to, and I'm done with the cruelly mediocre things that you cling to. Like it's oxygen. No, thank you. I don't want to be buried in stupid. I don't want to be buried in. I don't want to be buried in. I would like to be able to breathe and move and change. Grow. Evolve.
Space, you are always on time. Space, you are always on time. Like, well,
Yeah. Like, why aren't we playing? Where's the play? Is the play the thing anymore? Is the play the thinking? Are we inking the think that we have in this pen? Kinky, kinky, kinking, 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 kinking. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to go. Is I'm going to um, gently sing a bit, and if people show up, that's brilliant. And if they show up not here but close by, like it's all everybody's in the right place. Everybody's in the right place. Everybody's in the right place. So, where? Let's see. Where do we want to go? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gone from Facebook. I think it's done. This is just. Yeah. That was your firing thing. That was just absolute horseshit treatment of another human being. You need to get over that you don't like how it feels if I'm angry with you. Like, nobody's gonna hurt you. Nobody's trying to damage you. Do you want to know what accountability is? Want loyalty to be a part of your life? What are you? What are you? Because if you want to just like come in and be a figment in people's life, it's really not, it's not necessarily an interaction that they're going to like. It's not consensual non-consent doesn't quite work the backwards way you're doing it. You're just treating people badly. You know? Yeah, it's a lot of resonation of finding clarity of speech. I keep gravitating to moments in life or just strains of dialogue, I guess, that come from something and have a known thing to them, I guess, that I feel like I'm following. I don't know. We are at 9:16. This is a very, very, very informal presentation, this open channel, and I made the choice to be present and to have a stream going during the day. I did not think about what it would be like to keep this running if I were physically alone, just because it definitely it gets wordy and everything. And I guess I'm trying to keep in a space of just testifying as a human being and not that it's about me. I'm the one here. I'm the mind here. thinking about what I'm thinking about today, and how we need to stand for ourselves. We need to stand for what is. We need to stand for our brothers and sisters who have seen emancipation be almost not extant. Like, we are a joke when it comes to looking at our crimes and sorting things out. It's been well over a century. We need to start the reconstruction. We need to knock off the rest of the things that were supposed to happen day one. And this is our hour in the sun to create shade for the generations that come after us. If we do not understand that, we are not lazy, not selfish. We are evil. We need to understand that. That's not shitty, that's not jerky, that is evil. That is abomination. You are undoing the good works of the human race. Replace it with something better, or do not even think about talking about replacing it. And replacing it with something better is a difficult thing to say you have equated in a math that is pure and of the existence. I mean, we are dealing with collective memory. We are dealing with the texture of experience, and simply gouging thoroughfares the size of buildings. It's violence. I bet there's a space in Minneapolis that's empty that a cloth or other light material kind of, or even projection of the Metropolitan at scale could be installed in an atrium or something. Maybe just the frosted glass floors. Oh, do the frosted glass floors, do the Metropolitan and glow. Yes. That's where we need to go. That is, holy cow, yes. That is good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I think it's time to put out a call. Well, if there is anyone listening, I am looking for, pardon me, I am looking for an artist or two or three or four who are comfortable with some amount of performance, if somewhat pedestrian, really just willing to give it a go. And some daring is a good thing, although not adrenaline junkie. I'm just saying, to really rise to a moment and be who you want to be in that moment, to be in touch with what you have to deliver, have it in you to deliver, not are supposed to deliver by someone else's charge. Alrighty then. Yeah, I'm sure if anyone is watching, it is not the most eventful feed because I'm moving through. I'm trying to sure if people are getting in touch and other things too, and thinking about what pieces I might want to share here. But let's go with what I believe I know is a good thing. Not that one. How about... Okay. I do not understand what's happening.
It's very odd.
There's some strange thing I've done with a connection here, or something. Yeah, that will work fine. So, let's try this one more time. Here we go. Okay. Wellingtonianus. Time for a bit of a splash of coffee. it's really great. It's really great. It's very odd, but it's great. Okay, so it's this one in a moment. So that's what I'm going to do. Not that. Yes, you are free to swing your arm, even close enough to me as you did, that you communicate like a bit of malice, and that is your right. Malice or menace or... Back in the day, I remember when we had, it's a big old Chinese pasture. What's that, Jakey? Well, that's morning. Oh. Hey, Jakey, can you speak, not to, can just clear it up? Oh, it became an underlying sexual urge. Yes. Exactly. Thank you for tuning in. Mm-hmm. Well met, Jakey. Jakey and the Pinky. Jakey and the Pinky. Jakey and the Pinky. Jakey and the Pinky. All right. Well, I am pretty sure I'm just really getting into sort of the space of brainstorm improv, because I think I'm going to do a bit of that kind of work. And so that's partially the energy that I am here and thinking about working with Radio Science Brain, which is, after all, linked entirely and deeply not just through the falsehood. Before I realized it was part of the falsehood necessarily, it was linked to the Statue of Liberty. That the Statue of Liberty is linked with celebration and superficial celebration of freedom, such as there are elements of that are, of course, very potent right now. And also a potent matriarch of America who is a whippersnappery mid to late 90s or something, and she looks like she's about 45. She is a graceful tidal wave. You can see some people have myriads just gently teeming, and I don't know, I ran into a TikTok today that essentially was saying, hey, you're making a lot of good points, and I'm not going to argue with them. I just want to talk about this woman whose name is escaping me now. I admit I believe it was the first time that I heard her name today, and I don't want to get it wrong. I think, and I'm speaking somewhat in the language of the falsehood, the aesthetica of this piece, there is something like a kind of earthly kryptonite about the ink that we write into three-dimensional shape. The think ink, kink, 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 kinky ink, kink, kink, inking, inking, king, 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 ink, king, inking, king, inking, king, inking, king, inking, king, inking, king, king, inking, king, 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 ink, king, ink, think that is potentially the monologue of someone creating the abomination of, you know, going from so light brown you're almost clear to white, which is an entirely different aspect, certainly as delineated by battalions of bands of white terrorists who name themselves white. So it is a project from the ground up, and we need to regard as attacks on children that are as grave as Sandy Hook. And this is not a joke. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is literal. We cannot allow children to be misled, to not recognize they're trying to stop the resistance. They are trying to stop the resistance. That is what is happening. They are trying to recloak the Matrix and give us blue pills that put us back in bed where we forgot that we found something out that was too big to know and too big not to know. I choose the red pill of illumination because that is waking up to the reality. If you hadn't before, or if you hadn't deeply enough, wake up evermore, that we scored on a goal that was not a goal. It was a neighborhood. It was a country. It was hundreds of nations. It was the bloodiest deed possible that has been done. There's nothing good about it. All colonists. What that means is that we need to give up the spoils. And what that means is that we need to lance our own boils. We brought poison through the water. We super light-skinned Europeans, or very light-skinned Europeans, let's not mix super in there, it's the most insanely saying childish or infantile is just an insult to childs and infants. It is so regressively the panic tantrum of the one kid you should not trust with the button to launch off against critical race theory. It is this is madness. We have to not fall asleep to the fact that this is still madness. It is still happening. We have avoided nothing yet. We can save the dream of the Republic that was a lie. Up and down. But if that is the hope, that the people who were so inspired by neighbors who looked different, that they became jealous and afraid, and felt the myth of their scarcity, or the scarcity of their myth, eat at their souls and tell them they had 5 ounces when they had 7 pounds tell them that they were not beautiful just because someone that they were looking at was beautiful. I don't know what kind of mental illness. I don't think that it's as simple or as, I don't know. It's not as simple as a tribe of people from Senegal or groups of people from across Western Africa nomadically over centuries moved, and many centuries later their ancestors are in Norway, and they're so cold. They've grown so cold. They've grown so cold and desperate and far from the mother. I can see the cold doing things. I can see something happening, maybe. It's not an excuse, but I'm just trying to see what in the world. Why does an entire, I mean, that is it really is just an insidious technology. Belief systems are pollution or solution. We really have we're treating ourselves like garbage. And evident of that is that this is 2021, and we really have not done much of a reconstruction. And I celebrate Juneteenth, and I celebrate the work of stalwart champions who made this a federal holiday, because there are deeply important things about it, and we need to give the actual to the actual. We need to give the actual remuneration, the actual healing, the actual space, the actual silence. Okay. Yes, I believe we are at that moment. And camera's gonna. Thank you. Sometimes the future is just It radiates, and it is scient. because it emanates from the brain. Radiant, scient, 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 brain. This machine is doing why? You're not connecting to Bluetooth. What is going on, dude? Very strange. Very strange. Muy peculiar. Muy divertido, pero poco. Yo estoy enojado. That's an imitation of myself 17,000 years ago. Where am I? What am I looking for? Yes, this is what it sounded like when I'm just. I haven't slept for a while. And just to prepare for today. And so when you do come, if you do come at some point, it will be a day different than today. Typically, though, I do want to be a steward for something here. The work that's going to happen going forward is going to consist of a few basic particles, and that is live performance here that can be experienced in groups of 1 to 40 or 50 in different ways, and many of them masked or COVID safe. And also an event and immersive kind of experiment, just experiential from things from breakout session and coaching, bringing in other people to do that. This is a space that other people should be able to use. It's very unique. It's very unique. It is unique. And it's also very. It is extra. And so it does need to be shared. I'm going to be building a weekly program, about 22 minutes or so, and it will be an omnibus, a magazine, with variety from things that are narrative and brief and to slightly longer, but all sort of something serialized that later emerge as larger pieces. But there is a regular practice of an output that is modest in size and scope. To some degree, it's doable to start a legible practice here, and that through serializing things that come out of it, and through eventually on top of that practice, once it is humming and growing gradually, to also just lean into saying, okay, this week we are ready for next week's program. We'll run it a few times, or we'll keep it ready. We'll land this, and we are doing a 2-hour improvised piece in 3 days, and I'll use part of this grant portion that I have to. I'm looking for a cadre of artists. I would prefer to work, especially with artists who also are comfortable with design or work in paint or other media. Really, I want to work with people who are excited about doing things for the first time and okay with spending time where it feels like it's okay that it feels like things aren't coming to anything. It's okay to trust that things will come. It's okay to know you're not going to be tested or pressured. We will find something for real, and only because we're following fun. I am a very serious person, and I'm almost most serious about fun. I think a lot about how to construct it, and for good or ill, or whatever else I gain from people, I learn innovation about how to create space for fun. And that is play. That is the artist alive as a child through life. Excelsior. What else are we to be except our resonance, growing and deepening and calming into a tranquility that is a pool, a field, a solitary and ubiquitously mirrored school. Alrighty. Well, it's 10:04, and I thank you, anyone who has been along, whether or not you've been listening to my voice or just thinking about, I wonder how it's going at the Mystery Font, or whatever you think this place is called, because I'm calling it different things, and that's part of how I work, and it's also part of allowing intuition to pull me forward over my center of gravity and learn how to roll out of it or land it or something new under the sun. And nuts, it does come. So I am going to now transition. This is, oh, interesting. I am going to now transition here. So now it is finally interesting. That's why, because the phone is finally working with the computer for some reason. Okay, that's great. It's been a good day in terms of working out kinks of this system, because I've just brought back online software that I was working with a year ago, essentially, and had started to get familiar with, and I knew this was the way to go. And it's a new space and some new equipment, and some very old and resilient and long-standing companion equipment. Let's say thank you, and this concludes an observation of an observance of a quelling, a welling, a swelling of an aperture that is looking into the pupils of where terror has come and went. We are not out of it, though. We, whether it's giving space and knowing that it's okay if people need the space to not take that space, whether it's getting over your own thing or understanding that this moment right here, whether it's the COVID moment or anything, kryptonite exists, and we do not know what people are dealing with. In some ways, we do more than ever, and kryptonite exists. We have to understand that kryptonite exists. You can hurt someone trying to love them, or with a deeply flawed and embarrassingly privileged place of reference. Because we start somewhere, and we do come from ignorance. Ignorance is not evil, but we're learning. We have to learn harder. We have to remove whiteness from us as a thing and be accountable for what we have done as human beings. Not as white people, but as the people who call themselves white. That is a blank page. Scarlet letter is on a blank page. The blank page is redder white than the letter bleeds day or night. We can do better. I continue to hope that you find within you unexpected pools and around you and people around you in fields of what you know is there and is waiting to show itself because you are bringing the conditions into being that allow transcendence and brave accountability and resilient resistance to the pathogen, the cancer, the pain of hate. You are not the poison. You, daughter, are the what are in the poison. You, daughter, are water. You are poise in what are in the poison. You are the poise in water's noise. Enough water for all of us. If Nefsli's not too tough. We have to understand and recognize and become that I can't breathe is never a bluff. White people probably broke that mold. White people probably lied and cried suffocation. White people probably cried, I can't breathe, in order to take advantage and decimate lives. That's how the weapons come around. Colin Kaepernick knelt and made his knee his act of kneeling a supplication to an honored flag, a call to honor a flag we were desecrating by standing under it for hate. We allowed Goebbels to garble and warble into trouble, doubled that message. Why? Why on earth are we so shakable from concept permanency? Why? Why can we be so fooled? Why did we not hold to greater accountability, as I hope we will, Chauvin and the accomplices? Because what was done was intentionally broadcast to the globe. That is a damningly psychotic act of global terror. And I have to imagine that their "you be careful out there" moment has included, for about a year or more, de-escalation means something more when people getting distracted means they might catch something and kill their mom with what they bring home on their sleeve. Be aware. Be aware that more than ever, you are the peacekeepers. You're holding it. You are the tenders of peace. Were they not being told that? Were they being told to take advantage? Were they being told, or were some of these amongst, I believe there are good people who are police. I definitely believe that. And I believe that the system of law enforcement is turned against them and perfectly compromised by the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and white nationalist terrorism. Those terrorists are the worst on earth. There are rivals, but in this regard, America is number one. And it is abomination. It is decimation incarnate. It is white fire. And there's nothing worse. And the interesting thing is, no one is vying for the title except the perpetrators. Colonizer is maybe good to have a counterpoint. With other words, because it does not mirror the cut deeply enough that happens. There has not been a worse crime. There has not. There has never been a worse crime. Except now there has, because we have let it go longer. This is a decimation. We are slowly, I mean, the metaphor is, if we are an eagle, we've never really flown the way we can fly. We never have. Because we are eating our children and ourselves and our ancestors. It is, and our yes, we are not locked into this abomination. We just have to see it. And that's why we need to understand that people who want to disable the array that tells us what's happening, which includes your own senses and extensions like the press and mail and internet that is truly safe in its construction, such that information flows with equity and in a way that protects harmony through actual democracy. Inked. That's where the ink needs to go. Not into leveraging one thing of personhood over another. That is terrorism. We have to see that. We are on a project that may be centuries long of amelioration. And so every day we will work to give and repair. But there is not reverse racism. It's not a thing. When we actually change enough of this that the physics of reality right themselves, and we all go, oh my God, we all can breathe better. Oh my God, I can see. Oh my God, I can think. It's not going to be utopia, but when we make shifts and realize we have all been in a nightmare, and some of us were loving it, that is damning. Only if we don't come out of it. We have to come out of it. We have to have the courage to let our children lead us out. So we can't stop them from knowing. We are endangering them when we do that. We're blinding them. We're telling them that the things that will see them hunted will save them, that the things that will leave them isolated will surround them with love. It's time. We are sentient. It's not that we don't have any excuse for hideous atrocity. It's that we have a chance to love. It's not that we have a chance to love. 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 You are the resonation of love's imagination. Thank you so much. All the best. I'm going to move on to another stream if I continue.